That is mean. I've introduced myself, Paul, and our driver, Dean, and there's also a co-host who pops up on the monitors a few times to tell you about some of the areas we'll be taking you through. And you might know this guy from shows like Saturday Night Live or Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. Our co-host is Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, hey there. You made it. Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure you get through this experience in one piece. You've got the very best guide.
His name is Paul.
And the greatest driver.
His name is Dean.
They're the best. I love them. Even though
Tour guide Paul
owes me $5. I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
Safety rules. Right above your head, down the center of the tram roof, there's a cord hanging up there, and that is our emergency cord. If at any time during our tour you have an emergency and you need us to stop the tram, if you have a medical emergency, if you're experiencing sound or video problems in the car that you're riding in, or if you accidentally dropped something over the side of the tram that you need, like a small child that you didn't move to the middle when I told you. Reach up and pull on the emergency cord. We'll stop the tram. I'll come back there to assist you. Please remain seated while our tram is moving. Keep your arms and legs inside at all times, and no smoking on the tour. Those are the safety rules. As we drive down this road, look on both sides of the tram and see all these movie posters in chronological order, representing many classic Universal films. We started making movies back in 1912, and these are just some of the thousands of movies that we've made over the last 100 years. Right now, I'm going to play about a 30-second clip from a classic 1940s film that's shot here. And after I play the clip, I'll explain what it has to do with this part of the studio. What movie is this?
I have the room ready for you, Mrs. Barrington.
Thank you, Will.
Did you hear that? Mrs. Barrington.
Not quite, darling, but soon. Very, very soon. Bella.
Yes?
Every bottle of champagne sent to the room at once. And make sure that we are not disturbed for any reason.
Oh.
Wait, hold on. That's Jimmy Fallon. That's not a classic 1940s movie. That's not even shot in a hotel. The reason I show you this clip here, it's a really good example of what it looks like when we film inside of a soundstage, but we make it look like it was done somewhere else. And right now, we're going to drive by several of the stages that we're using for filming. The first soundstage we drive by on the left, stage 12, is where we tape our NBC singing competition show, The Voice. And here's the host of the show, Carson Daly.
Hey everybody, I'm Carson Daly from NBC's The Voice. I want to welcome you to the Universal Front Lot. Our show is filmed on stage 12. It happens to be the largest soundstage on the Universal lot. Take a look.
Take a look at some of the other productions shot in that same stage. That's where they filmed Frankenstein's Laboratory, Dracula's Castle, Tony Montana's Mansion, the clock tower set from Back to the Future, the visitor center from Jurassic Park, Whoville from How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and a big resort couples retreat. All of those sets are built inside that stage. It's about the size of a football field inside. Pretty big stage. On the left side of the tram now, behind all the white trucks, is stage 25. Right now inside the stage, they're working on CSI. The Crime Lab is filmed inside stage 25. They also use 24, 23, and 22. So all four of these stages on the left are CSI sets. I'm going to show you a scene from an episode of CSI that filmed on the road that we're driving down right now. And when they were shooting the episode, they got the tram driving by in the background. So one day some people came and took the tour, and very briefly they ended up on CSI. There they go. They got the tram on purpose because in the episode they went to a movie studio to solve a crime. So all the places that they're driving around on the golf cart looking for clues, we are going to take you to on the tour. Soundstage 29, coming up here on the right side of the tram with the Wicked poster on the side, is the stage that they're using today for the new NBC show About a Boy. And on the left side of the tram is Soundstage 27, which is used for the Mindy Project, our NBC Universal show, which airs on the Fox network with Mindy Kaling. That's a show that supposedly takes place in New York, but that's all filmed here on the lot, using that stage and some of the sets we're going to be driving by in a moment. Another show that's filming here on the lot, Sean Saves the World, just started airing this fall with Emmy Award-winning actor Sean Hayes, also known from Will and Grace. The show airs Thursday nights on NBC, and they're working on that inside Soundstage 41 on the right. 2 talk shows are taped on our lot. One is called Home and Family. It airs every weekday on the Hallmark Channel. And the other is Chelsea Lately with Chelsea Handler, which airs on E! Kids love Despicable Me Minions, so we have 2 wrapped in toilet paper for some reason. In front of stage 43 on the right. Stages 43 and 44 are used for Parenthood, but they're not inside the stages today. They're out on our backlot. We'll drive near the area where they're filming a little bit later on. I also want to mention that Universal Studios is part of NBC Universal, one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world. This media powerhouse not only consists of our movie studio, it also includes a lot of famous networks. NBC, E!, Sci-Fi, USA, Bravo, Telemundo, the Golf Channel, CNBC, MSNBC, the Weather Channel, Oxygen, and NBC Sports. I memorized all those networks. I didn't read those off the monitors. All right, stop it. I appreciate that though. There's an office on the left side of the tram right behind the little white fence. Belongs to Robert Zemeckis, the director of the Back to the Future films. He won an Academy Award for directing Forrest Gump. Last year he directed Flight, Polar Express, a very popular film this time of year. We also have an office for Hasbro on the left with a giant Mr. Potato Head in front of it. And right next to Hasbro, there is a detached Mr. Potato Head arm holding a cell phone in front of Alfred Hitchcock's old office. The Hasbro company put that arm there as a joke because now Hitchcock's former office belongs to the Dino De Laurentiis company. They're the producers of our hit NBC show Hannibal. And here's another detached arm holding a cell phone. Watch it with your kids. I'm kidding, don't do that. Watch the show, don't watch the show with your kids. The first part of the tour that we're driving through was the front lot. And the front lot is where we have all the offices and the sound stages. Now we are crossing the border into our back lot. And it's out here in the back lot where we have all of our exterior sets used for our outdoor scenes. We have sets that look like New York City streets. We have a few old western towns. We have a European village. And we can pretty much make our backlot look like almost any place in the world. So from this point of the tour on, Dean is going to be driving the tram all around through these sets. So you're going to be able to get some really good pictures of where we do our productions. And the interesting thing about almost all of the sets that we're going to be seeing on the tour today, these aren't even full buildings. These are called facades. Most of these buildings are just outer shells. They only use them for the outdoor shots. They're empty on the inside. Some of the facades are just one wall. Like look over here on the right side of the tram. This is a painted wall. What can you do with this in a movie? This is what you do. Put a camera on the left side of the tram, film towards the wall, have actors and actresses walk in front of it. On film, you can't tell it's a painting. It looks like a real building. Some of these painted doors even open up, so during the shots, people can walk inside and it looks like they're walking into their homes. If you're watching a movie or a TV show and you see someone walk through the front door of one of these sets, as soon as they open the door and close it, they stop filming. On another day, they go inside of a sound stage and they do the interior scenes inside of sound stages because in those buildings, they have better control over the weather, the lighting, and the sound effects. The area of the backlot that we're driving through right now is called New York Street, and it gets its name because this is frequently used as New York in a lot of movies and television shows. And I'm going to bring back my co-host, Jimmy Fallon, to give this area a little introduction.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York. I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got mugged over there. An old woman, tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey! I'm walking here! I'm walking here! Hey, it's cool, guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
Currently, this part of our backlot is used as New York on the Mindy project. On the show, Mindy works in a hospital. All the exterior shots of the hospital, they use the glass building on the right side of the tram. That same glass building was supposed to be part of New York last year in The Amazing Spider-Man. That was used as Oscorp. That was the building where Dr. Connors and Gwen Stacy worked. And it's not a very tall set, but in the movie, they added computer effects to it to make it look like it was a skyscraper. Another superhero ran around this part of our backlot, Captain America, the First Avenger. For that film, New York Street was supposed to be Brooklyn, and they dressed up some of these sets to make it look like it was the 1940s. Transformers was done out here. At the end of the first Transformers, the robots are doing their final battle in the middle of the city. To tell you a little bit about the Soundstage that we're about to bring you into, I'm going to bring up another special guest star on the monitors, Academy Award-winning director Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson directed the Lord of the Rings films, The Hobbit, and King Kong.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker. Action! I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up an adventure. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, but just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island. The Universal Tram is winding its way through a very rough, narrow trail in Skull Island, allowing the visitors a little sneak peek at some of the wildlife of Skull Island.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Skull Island.
The island. Nobody's lived here for hundreds of years. We were so sure.
in Skull Island.
Is where they're filming Parenthood. So we're actually going to be driving right underneath where they're doing the filming. This is going to be a very lengthy quiet zone. I may be off the microphone for about 4 or 5 minutes. We're going to be driving by a whole row of famous cars from movies and television shows. We'll drive by some of the sets and some of the vehicles that were used in the Jurassic Park films. And you might even see a dinosaur or two. So I'll talk to you again as soon as they let me in.
Hi everybody, here's today's forecast for the Universal Backlot. It's going to be sunny and dry in 6 Points, Texas. Cool and cloudy in Little Europe. Expect snow and sleet on New York Street, and we've got a high chance of fog and precipitation for Skull Island, Amity Island, and Island Blah. That's your forecast for today. Now here's a look at what's going on in your neck of the woods.
That's another special guest star. That is Al Roker of the Today Show. And he seems to think that there's a flash flood warning in Old Mexico. That's the part of the backlot we're in right now. But I want to show you what it looks like on film. You can see it on the monitors. Look at that. Al Roker just predicted a flash flood, and it started raining really hard. There's a problem with rain out of this section of our backlot. The set is built on a hill. And during heavy storms like this, we've been known to have flash floods. You might want to be careful if you're sitting on the left side of the tram. Enjoy! Watch the top of the hill. Here comes a flash flood. That's a really simple special effect. That's not a computer effect. We didn't use any computers to create that. The rain is done with sprinklers hidden in the trees, so that's easy. We turn the sprinklers on and off. The set is built on a hill. At the top of the hill, just out of view, there's a huge tank of water. We dump the water out of the tank. That's it. Water rolls downhill. That water is recycled. There's a pump underneath the bridge at the bottom of the hill. The water goes underneath the bridge. The pump brings it back into the tank so we can use it again. And I'm going to show you what that special effect looked like in a scene from a movie. Here's a family comedy called Big Fat Liar.
You can't outrun the wolf, kid! Yeah, we'll see about that.
The actor rolling down the hill there is Paul Giamatti, and he's the co-star of a movie that just filmed out on the left side of the tram using some of those old Western sets. It's a movie that comes out next week, actually I guess later this week, Saving Mr. Banks, a movie about the making of the movie Mary Poppins. It also stars Tom Hanks and Emma Thompson. This is a pretty historic part of our backlot right here, all these old Western sets. These are some of the first sets that were ever built on the lot. So some of these buildings are about 100 years old. They were originally built for silent movies, so that's how long they've been around. If you look up the street on the left side of the tram, you'll be able to get a really good picture of those old Western sets. And that's where we used to film a lot of Westerns with big stars like John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart, Kirk Douglas, and Clint Eastwood. These are some of the movies that filmed out in that section of our backlot.
You're just gonna stir things up here. That I am.
How dare you hit that man?
Mine hit the ground first. Mine was taller.
So those are the oldest sets that we have on our lot, and nowadays it's pretty easy for us to create an entire set with the help of a computer. They don't even have to do any construction at all. A good example of that, just a few moments ago, we took you through the King Kong attraction. The entire set of Skull Island that surrounded our tram inside that soundstage, that was all created with a computer. When Peter Jackson directed the movie King Kong back in 2005, another type of set that he used, models. Instead of building an entire set of an island, they built a miniature set of an island, but it was very detailed. So when they photographed it, it looked like it was a full-size set. The reason I'm telling you this, we are going to drive right next to the miniature Skull Island that was built for King Kong. We have the island, and we have the boat that the crew used to get to the island, a little miniature SS Venture. They're in the middle of the water, so we're going to drive the tram right through the middle of the water so you get a great up-close and sea-level picture. Look how realistic the ducks are. It's amazing what we can do with animatronics. So lifelike. Now that you can see how detailed the miniature sets are up close, I'm going to show you what they look like in the movie. I'm going to play a scene from King Kong. They filmed it at night. They brought in fog machines to create mist. Just like our flash flood special effect, they use sprinklers to create rain. And this is our miniature boat. That's a very tiny man inside the boat. Miniature set of Skull Island. Miniature boat crashes into miniature set. Miniature boat. Jack Black fascinated with the miniature boat. In the 1930s and 1940s, Universal was very well known for releasing a lot of horror movies which have since become classics. Even if you've never seen them, you've probably heard of Frankenstein, Dracula, The Wolf Man, and The Invisible Man. Those movies, all filmed out in the section of the backlot directly in front of us, is called Little... These are very angry villagers running around this part of our backlot.
Come on, he's in the woods. Get out the bloody house. Raise all the men you can, lock them indoors, and wait for me. Are you ready? Your torches and go!
They're doing some filming inside the house on the left side of the tram, right behind the trailers. This is where they do the talk show Home and Family. It's a combination of a talk show and a home improvement show. Airs every weekday on the Hallmark Channel, hosted by Mark Steinis and Christina Ferrari. And almost all of the sets that we've shown you on the tour so far have been our exterior sets, the ones built outside. Now we're going to show you an example of an interior set. We're going to drive the tram right through Soundstage 50. Inside, it's all dressed up to look like a subway station. And 20th Century Fox used this stage for an episode of Bones. Any studio can rent out portions of our backlot or sections of our sound stages. So 20th Century Fox used it for Bones. They've already finished shooting the episode. They've taken most of the equipment out of the stage, and they're giving us permission to drive through to show you what it looks like. They've got a crashed train over here on the left side of the tram. It jumped the track, and now it's crashed into one of the poles on the side. The reason that most productions like to film inside of sound stages as opposed to on real city streets or using our backlot sets, these sound stages are about 95% soundproof. The walls are very thick and they're padded, so they block out almost all the outside noise. They normally don't have to worry about the sound of the trams driving by when they're filming inside these. Hey everybody, remain seated. That's an earthquake. On the left side of the tram, the pipe broke, the whole ceiling's coming down. Everybody, hang on. set that you're about to see was used in an episode of Bones. I did not lie to you. There was an episode that filmed inside. There was supposed to be an earthquake. So they closed into the tour for the day. They put stuntmen at the bottom of the steps where all the water dumped out. And this is how it looked in the episode.
What's going on?
Let's get out of here! The water main just broke!
Nobody ever said that. Now that you've just seen an earthquake, we have to calm you down a little bit. We got to take you to a peaceful part of our backlot. So that's why Dean brings us to Amity Island. We had to close Amity Beach for a little while because of all the shark attacks. We caught a shark. We have it hanging on display in front of the hotel. We can't reopen the beach yet because there's another shark on the other side of the water, and we haven't caught that one. I don't think the scuba diver by the boat knows the beach is closed. Hey, mister, come up a minute. There's a shark in the water. Can you swim to the boat? Mister, can you make it to, sir? Mister, are you okay? The shark ate him. Yay! That's great. Where's the shark? The shark's going back to the other side of the water and swimming away. Going towards that guy in the golf cart. If we stop behind the pier separates us from the shark. This is perfect. The shark took the pier. Oh, I see where the shark is. It's right next to us. I have a window. We just came face to face with a great white killer shark inspired by the movie Jaws, directed by Steven Spielberg. Look what somebody did to the billboard on the left after the shark attacked it. That's not nice. But that happened in the movie. The mechanical shark that just jumped up and attacked us is not the same shark that was built for the film. When they made Jaws, they built 3 mechanical sharks. None of them work very well. Our shark works better than Steven Spielberg sharks. And some of the people who worked on the movie are going to tell you about the trouble they had.
That's a much maligned shark. The shark was frustrating. It didn't really work all the time. It didn't work hardly at all.
Wherever you were on the island, you could hear the radio waves. They were always saying, the shark is not working. Repeat, the shark is not working.
We just waited around. We just waited and waited and waited. The shark worked well enough. For a while there, it had to be all time. So I really owned the shark a lot.
Wow, look how brave Steven Spielberg was. He went out in public in those shorts. Don't tell him I said that. We've been preparing the house on the right side of the tram for the television show About a Boy. And it is based on the movie that starred Hugh Grant and Toni Collette. Minnie Driver is going to be starring in the series. This is the same house that was used as the chicken ranch in our musical, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Starred Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton. Over the years, this has been used in a lot of television shows. Murder, She Wrote, Quantum Leap, Ghost Whisperer, CSI, Parenthood, The Mentalist, Crossing Jordan, and Desperate Housewives. If you are fans of Desperate Housewives, you're probably going to like this. It's Wisteria Lane. For 8 years, this is the street where the Desperate Housewives lived. The second house on the left, the brown house, is where Gabrielle lived, played by Eva Longoria. Susan, played by Terry Hatcher, lived in the yellow house on the left. Bree, played by Marcia Cross, lived across the street. On the right side of the tram in the blue house with the brick walkway. And Lynette, played by Felicity Huffman, lived in the last house on the left. Right now they're preparing the street for About a Boy. And it is a cul-de-sac, so if you weren't able to get pictures of all the houses, don't worry, we loop around, we'll drive out in the opposite direction. The last house on the street, on the right, is where Edie lived, played by Nicolette Sheridan. Then Renee moved in, played by Vanessa Williams. And as we drive back down the street one more time so you can get some more photos, I'll show you how it looked on the show. Here's a montage of Wisteria Lane, seen on Desperate Housewives.
If there is one thing everyone in suburbia can appreciate, it's a good neighbor.
Oh, what the heck? Let's move back.
Recently, that entire street was blocked off for about a month. We weren't able to take trams down there because they're filming a movie called The Kitchen Sink. It's kind of a comedy, horror, sci-fi. It's about a group of teenagers that team up with a group of zombies and a group of vampires so they can fight off invading aliens. It kind of combines all the science fiction elements into one comedy. It stars Vanessa Hudgens, and that's going to be coming out in theaters next year. The Desperate Housewives aren't the only people that lived out in this farmer backlot. The Who's lived here too, in a small town called Whoville, seen in our film How the Great Stole Christmas. Director Ron Howard is going to tell you about some of the funny-looking houses we're about to drive right next to.
It was challenging because the logistics were challenging. We had 11 stages occupied at one time on the Universal lot. One of them was just for putting Who's into their makeup every day. And so I felt like it was one of those extravaganzas from the 30s or 40s. Sets that were inspired by Dr. Seuss, brought to life, made functional enough that, you know, shoot on them, actors could climb on them, people could do flips off them. It makes me so proud that it's become this kind of evergreen, and that every Christmas it rolls around and it means something to a lot of kids.
The Who's have been out here very busy lately getting ready for Grinchmas. And most people familiar with the Dr. Seuss story know that the Who's live near the Grinch, and they're afraid of the Grinch. But the funny thing is they live closer to somebody much more terrifying. The Who's built their town right behind the Bates Motel, which is run by that guy, Norman Bates. Very creepy gentleman. Look, he's all twitchy. Norman? Good morning. Can we get a picture of you over by the tram before you go back? Norman? Busy. It's still a great photo. You can get a picture of the Psycho House and a picture of the Bates Motel. You can see Norman carrying a dead body out of one of the... What? Why does he do that in front of us? That's awkward. Norman! Good morning. There are about 170 people on the tram watching you dump what looks like a dead body in the trunk, and a lot of these people have cameras. You have a knife. We're gonna go. Norman, I didn't take pictures. Back in the fourth car, they're far away from me. They took most of the pictures. That was close. Wait, he's still coming. Wait, Norman. Norman. Stop. Don't do that. I'm gonna tell your mother. Don't look at us like that. Norman lives with his mother, and she's home too. Mrs. Bates likes to sit in her rocking chair, and she stares out her bedroom window from the second floor. Good-looking woman. And look at all of the destruction behind the Psycho House. There's a set of a crashed airplane and a destroyed neighborhood. This whole set was constructed for the action film War of the Worlds. And we're going to be stopping the tram in the middle of the set just for a moment so I can get some really good pictures. Don't stand up yet. Our tram is still moving. But as soon as we come to a complete stop, then it will be safe. Hold on a second. Okay, if you want to stand up, it's okay now. And I'm going to show you how it looked in the film. This is War of the Worlds.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around the vision of Stephen.
When you first began to sit down to talk about the War of the Worlds, I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. You're doing good. Keep your eyes on me. Eyes on me. All right, listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Now close. Robbie, get in. Get in.
And by the way, the airplane on the left side of the tram was a real airplane. That's not a facade. When they're filming War of the Worlds, they bought a full 747 and did that to it. It was somebody's job to destroy an airplane. People got paid to do that. That was probably fun. There's a log cabin on the left side of the tram. It's been used in a few recent episodes of the Mindy Project. It was used in the action film Shooter with Mark Wahlberg, and a lot of people remember it from its first movie. It was built in 1988. Dan Aykroyd and John Candy spent their vacation there in the great outdoors. There it is. Hopefully, throughout the course of the tour, you were able to get a lot of really good pictures of all of our famous movie sets, and we threw in some special effects along the way, Jaws, King Kong, and Earthquake. We're going to be concluding the tour in just a moment. We're going to be pulling into our unloading area. Look around. Make sure that you have all of your personal belongings with you. We don't want you to leave anything behind. Look underneath the seats, too. A lot of times during the shaking, people's cell phones fall out of their pocket. I am going to need to turn off the microphone again right before we pull up into the unloading area. This time they're doing Parenthood down the hillside on the right. So again, we're close enough where they might hear the tram. I'll talk to you again in just a minute. I want to thank all of our annual pass holders for coming back and joining us again today. If you're not an annual pass holder and would like to become one, stop by the Universal Trading Company, the same place where you get the tickets for the Tonight Show. Find out how you can upgrade today's ticket into an annual pass. It allows you to come back and join us for an entire year. It's a good idea to pick up one of those passes because we are going to be opening a new attraction in spring, the Despicable Me Minion Mayhem. We've got a new attraction coming based on the hit Despicable Me film. Despicable Me comes out on DVD and Blu-ray tomorrow. Thanks a lot for taking the tour. Enjoy the rest of your day here at Universal Studios Hollywood, the entertainment capital of LA. Our park is open tonight until 5 o'clock. If you have any questions about anything you've seen on the tour, if you have any questions about our rides, if you have any questions about our shows, or if something on the tour scared you a little bit and you just need a hug, I will be standing right next to the tram. Please feel free to come up and ask if you have any questions. Have a great day, everybody. Have fun.